Rana Kaliouby, co-founder and CEO of Affectiva. We're an MIT spinoff on a mission to humanize technology. Essentially, what we do is we use machine learning and deep learning to build algorithms that understand all things human. Your emotions, your cognitive states, your behaviors, your activities. And the goal is to inject a little bit of empathy and emotional intelligence into our machines and digital experiences. Why, you may ask? Why does technology need EQ, or emotional intelligence? Well, AI is ingrained in every aspect of our lives. It's helping us do things faster, more efficiently. It's maybe even helping us lead happier and healthier lives. It's taking on roles that were traditionally done by humans, for example, acting as your personal assistant, hiring your next coworker, maybe writing your news articles, driving our cars, assisting with our healthcare. And as a result, we are forging this new kind of partnership between humans and machines. And we need a new social contract to define how do we go about that. I believe that this new social contract needs to be built on mutual trust. So a lot of the public discourse is about how to get humans to trust in AI, to trust in all of this AI we're building. I actually think that that's not enough. We need AI to be able to trust in humans as well. It's not like we exactly have an amazing track record of always doing the right thing, right? I mean, we've spent the entire day today talking about how people who are designing and deploying these AI systems aren't necessarily doing it in a trustworthy way. And unfortunately, there are plenty of examples where this trust has already gone wrong. For example, a chatbot on Twitter generating racist speech, facial recognition software that's discriminating against minority groups, especially women of color, and self-driving cars being involved in fatal accidents. So what I like to do is take a step back and think about how humans do it. I mean, every day we make thousands and thousands of decisions that involve trusting one another. Be it in your personal or your professional life. So for example, if you took a ride-sharing experience to get to the summit, you trusted that the driver was going to get you here safely. If, like me, I have 2 kids back in Boston, I'm trusting that their nanny and their teachers at school are taking good care of them. You trust that your coworkers are going to do what they say they're going to do. And we know instinctively if you can't really build a relationship, a productive relationship, personally or professionally, with people you do not trust. I believe the same is true for AI. So trust is sometimes explicit, but most often it's manifested in the social, nonverbal, nuanced, facial, vocal, and gestural cues that we use to communicate with one another. And at the core of that trust is this concept of empathy, or emotional intelligence. We know from years and years of research that people who have higher EQ, higher emotional intelligence, tend to be more trustworthy, they're more likable, they're more persuasive, and they're more successful in their lives all around. Again, because AI is becoming so ingrained in our lives, I believe that that's going to be true for AI as well. We need AI with EQ. So that's the problem. We're building a lot of IQ and cognitive intelligence into our AI systems, and we're not really thinking about this emotional intelligence aspect of it. And so I've spent my entire career thinking about, what if computers could detect emotions just as humans can? For example, what if a computer could tell the difference between a smile and a smirk? They both involve the mouth region, but they have very, very different meanings. What if a learning app could engage the level of engagement and attention of a learner and adapt the content accordingly, just like an awesome teacher would in the real world? And I think this relates very much to Cindy's presentation earlier today from VIP Kids on how can we democratize access to education. Today's technology, today's intelligent learning systems are emotion blind, and I think we can fix that. What if doctors could objectively measure your mental state and your mental wellness just the way they do with other vital signs? Like when you walk into a doctor's office, they don't ask you what your blood pressure is or what your temperature is. They just measure it. That's not true for mental health states like depression, for example, where the gold standard is still, on a scale from 1 to 10, how depressed are you, how suicidal are you? We need better data. And so taking a step back, I want to pose 4 tenets of this new social contract between humans and machine. One is this idea that it's reciprocal. And I want to draw, kind of focus an example on the automotive industry. I think the future of mobility with autonomous vehicles and robotaxis is very exciting. I can't wait for the day when I can stick my kids in a robotaxi and have them have that vehicle schlep them all over the place instead of me doing it. However, I wouldn't do that today. I don't trust the vehicles. Well, they don't exist, but I wouldn't trust them. I think safety isn't there yet. So on the path to this fully autonomous world of mobility, we're going to see a lot more semi-autonomous vehicles. And there, the handoff challenge is really critical. This idea that sometimes the vehicle will be in control, it's driving itself, but at a moment's notice, it needs to relinquish control back to a driver or a co-pilot. And it needs to know if that driver is attentive. Is that driver distracted? Is that driver asleep? Is that driver watching a movie? And that is where some of the work we do with automotive companies is really critical to kind of build driver monitoring solutions that are able to quantify this level of trust between driver and vehicle to allow for the safe transfer of control. The second tenet is data, right? Anyone in the AI space knows that machine learning is very, very data hungry, so the size of the data set is really critical. Reid just kind of alluded to that in his conversation. So far, we have collected over 7.6 million faces, which is about 5 billion facial frames from 87 countries around the world of people just emoting. Whether they're driving around or consuming content online, everything we've done so far is with people's opt-in and consent. That's very important to us. But it's not, the size of the data is really important, but the diversity of it is even more important. Because people express their states in many different ways. I mean, people look different, but they also express in many different ways. For example, we took a step back and kind of analyzed the gender differences in how people express emotion. We found that, by and large, women are more expressive than men. Perhaps that's not surprising, but it depends on the culture. So women in the US smile 40% more than men. In France and Germany, it's 25% more. And in the UK, I want to see, are there any Brits here? Oh, I have, okay. So we did not see any significant difference between men and women in the UK, which I thought is quite intriguing. But that really means that the diversity of the data set we're using for training and testing is really critical. Otherwise, we are just building the biases that exist in society into these scalable AI systems, and that's a real concern that I have. So how do you avoid bias when you're building machine learning models? First, you start with the training data set. It's really important that we sample the data in a way that represents the different groups that we're interested in deploying the algorithm on. So for example, this is the data we use to train a smile classifier. It has equal examples of females and males, different age group, yay! Woo. Do I get extra time for and different age groups as well. And equally important, once we train these algorithms, we don't just report on one accuracy score. It's really critical that we look at the accuracy of the algorithm per subpopulation. So for example, here you can see again the accuracy of the smile algorithm by gender. It's equally accurate by and large, as well as by ethnicity. And you can kind of see that we're particularly good at detecting the smiles of the Latinos. Again, not quite sure why. It's probably a function of how we're representing the data on the training side, but we're able to flag these examples and dive deeper into it. It's not just about the data, though. It's about the team that's designing these AI systems and deploying them. I'm a huge advocate of diversity and inclusion when we're designing these AI systems. Because we solve for the problems we know. And so the more perspectives you have around the table thinking about these issues, the better you're going to the better you're going to end up with a system that's more robust and accurate and representative of the population that's using it. So I want to show you a quick video of our team testing the algorithm. And I just want you to note the diversity of the team that we have. So for example, at some point we realized we didn't have enough data of women wearing the hijab in our data set, and so that we flagged that and was able to fix it. Glasses, hair bangs, age ranges, skin colors, obviously. Level of expressiveness. We have people who are kind of poker faced and people who are very emotive. Beards. So again, this just speaks to the importance of having a diverse team that is solving these problems. We take pride in that. And then finally, the final tenet is this idea of this social contract needs to be ethical. When we first started Affectiva, we recognized that there are many, many use cases of this of this technology, and we were particularly interested in use cases that support our core value of respecting people's privacy. And so as a result, we've turned down any inbound interest, including millions and millions of dollars of funding to apply our technology in the security and surveillance and lie detection industries, and instead focus on automotive safety, plus supporting our partners in the mental health space, helping kids with autism, and more. So just to wrap up, we're part of the partnership on AI. It's great. It brings multiple stakeholders to solve the problem: startups, big tech giants, ACLU, Amnesty International, and more. And I think the way to go about this is to really prioritize the human, not, when we're solving for AI, is to really think about the human, not the artificial part of it. Thank you. And get in touch.